still remember how vivid and red the blood was. See, it was spring of 2013. I stared at my hands as it was covered in it. And I thought about a poem I once wrote that began, "A disease is simply death, sprinkled with a sliver of hope. An automatically failed test titled Learning How to Cope." Can't think about that now. I need to rush to the ER. But I have meetings tomorrow, and it'll have to wait. Cystic fibrosis is a life-threatening, progressive, and genetic disease. It fills my lungs with a thick, infected, sticky mucus that I can't cough out. It has destroyed my pancreas and requires 38 pills a day just to digest my food, resulting in a rare form of diabetes that I now manage 5 times a day with insulin. In addition, I spend 1 hour every morning and an hour every evening using a nebulizer in an attempt to open my airways long enough to breathe in between treatments. Last year, I spent over 100 days in the hospital and on IV antibiotics through a port that I had surgically implanted into my chest. Although more frequent, my hospitalizations are much less intense than they were just years ago. Fall 2016. This is the 3rd time in 20 minutes my IV pole beeps, alerting me that there is air in the line of the tubes connected to my port. I glance at the clock. 2:32 a.m. You would think that hospitals are a place to rest, recover, sleep in. No, they're not. Because during the day, there's a host of staff members walking into and out of your room, giving you treatments. And at night, there's a host of staff members walking into and out of your room to test how the treatments have responded. In the last 6 hours, I've had over 40 pills, 6 shots, 2 blood draws, 12 nebulization treatments, and a continuous drip of IV antibiotics, all in the hopes to destroy the latest bacteria that is trying to destroy all of my future opportunities. I know I could page the nurse and let her deal with my finicky IV pole. But the thing is we'd probably be up till 5 a.m. talking about everything in our lives that's happened in the 2 months since I've seen her last. So I flip back the covers, I go over to my own IV pole, I adjust the settings so it's not mind-numbingly loud. And I put the air bubbles back up to the tube where they belong. Despite the fluorescent lights glowing from my various machines, my room is dark. And there's an eerie silence, which in a twisted way, when I hear the code blue, it reminds me to be thankful that there's still a rosy pink color to my cheeks. Look around my room, and I relish in my thankfulness to have such vitality, because every year for the last 28 years, I have been told that next year might not happen. And I see my blanket on my bed from home, my lucky teddy bear to keep me company. And on the shelf, stack of newly published books that I wrote that the doctors bought and asked me to autograph for their shift tomorrow. My work laptop's in the corner. And next to that are 24 roses that the love of my life dropped off yesterday, to serve as a reminder that all I really need to do while I'm here is outlive them. And it doesn't matter at all. If you love the people and the things you fill your life with, you will quit capitalizing on only the good, because the bad stuff is still a reminder that there is breath in your lungs and a pink color to your cheeks. It's unusually warm, but I decided to go for a walk. So I unhook my device, my IV pole, Decided to put on a sweater so I look like a visitor and security doesn't get confused, so I can go for my walk. And decided to set my phone alarm to go off by 3:30 a.m. so I'm back by my next round of IVs. And as I do that, can't help but remember in 2013 when my night changed forever. And I saw the blood. You see, I was 25 at the time, and I was dedicating 12-hour days to starting the West Coast division of a Boston-based biotech and pharmaceutical recruiting firm. I spent more time that year in the hospital than I did in the apartment that I could barely afford. I had dreams. Sure, I wanted to start a recruiting company where I could focus on finding high achievers. I wanted to write a book about what it means to be a high achiever. And I wanted to start dating, find a man to settle down with. But the thing is dreams don't work unless you do. And I was too busy working to build the dreams of somebody else, so they'd never work for me. I was putting things like exercise and eating clean, healthy meals on the back burner in favor of hitting the drive-thru on the way home so I could pound out an extra 10 sales calls hoping to land a client. But that night, as I ordered my cheeseburger through the window, instead of calling that 10th client, I called my friend Beth. You see, Beth, she's 41, and she is one of the oldest people I have ever met with cystic fibrosis. She's also an entrepreneur. She owns her own law firm. She's married, beautiful family. And as we engaged in a few minutes of small talk, I felt it, that all too familiar tickle in my lungs. I started to cough uncontrollably. Put my hand to my face to prevent the mucus from hitting my steering wheel, as it so often does. And I looked down, and it's blood. And my first thought is, I need to rush to the ER. My second thought was, it'll have to wait because I have meetings tomorrow. And I hear her voice. Kaylin, what is so important about working for these guys that you're willing to risk your life for their dreams? You don't get it, I say, annoyed to her. Because the reality is that my life was in a downward spiral. I didn't want to talk to her because I wanted to eat my cheeseburger, I wanted to go to bed, I wanted to wake up the next day, I wanted to put candidates in front of a client hoping to get a commission check so that way I could pay some bills so I could keep on doing it, not realizing I would end up in the ground. Kaylin, she says, calming me, most people spend their entire lives doing something they don't like doing in order to go on living just to do more things that they don't like doing. There's a distinction you must realize, she says. When you're working this hard for something you hate, it's called stress. But when you work that hard for something you love, that's called passion. Your stress is killing you. Yeah, I know that, okay? Everybody tells me that, but I'm just maybe 2 paychecks away from doing things my way, okay? The timing is just not right. You don't understand. Kaylin, I hear her say, people always wait. They wait to get through the fall for their big goal. And then it's the holiday season. And heaven forbid they start on anything before spring break. Then it's another birthday, summer's passed, and before they know it, that year's gone. You won't be waiting for anything but the phone call from my office on how we need to draft your will. I love you, but do you even love yourself? Think about it. And with that, she hung up on me. And I was overcome with the realization she was right. So I drove that night to the ER. And after an initial consultation, I learned my lung function was at a dangerously low 38%. And unless I was lucky enough to get listed for a lung transplant, I wouldn't live to see my 29th birthday. So I took out my work laptop, And I emailed a resignation letter that night to 2 CEOs that to this day still have not responded. And I was fueled. I was fueled by the realization that if I couldn't live life my way, it was not a life worth living. And I got busy thinking. I thought about the type of recruiting company I wanted to start. I thought about the book I wanted to write. I thought about the qualities in a man I wanted to settle down with. And I realized it doesn't matter. Okay? If you are working from a hospital room, or if you're currently running a company career team, to get out of a rut, to make a decision, you must be flexible on your methods, but clear on your vision. One thing nobody tells you is that statistically, more people die in hospitals than their own homes. Statistically, these deaths occur between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. Statistically, my family will be at my funeral within the next 5 years. And it doesn't matter. If you're walking the halls of a hospital at 3 a.m., or you're walking into a boardroom, you choose your power. And it doesn't matter if you're wondering if you can survive the night or the next market crash. There's a way to turn every setback into a comeback, every trial into a triumph. Because the only thing that is actually going on is our interpretation of what is actually going on. And in the midst of my thoughts, doctors and nurses suddenly rushed past me in a frenzied run. Light in the hallway auto-adjusts to accommodate, and the speakers boom through the silence, code blue, code blue. Attention staff on 2 West, there's a code blue in room 211. Close my eyes, and I offer up a prayer of thanks that tonight I survived. But I hope whoever just took their last breath realized it's much better to live a life that is short, doing things they love, than to live a long life spent in a miserable way. Because ultimately, life isn't even measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the number of moments that take our breath away.